Welcome to Kings Spotlight. We're joined again this week by Kings College football coach Jeff Knarr. Thanks for being with us again this week, Coach.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Coach, a tough loss last week as Kings missed out on an upset of undefeated Albright College by a 34-31 score on two late fourth quarter field goals, the last coming with 58 seconds left in the game. You always talk about the importance of the players and coaches putting the game behind you on Sundays and moving forward to the next game, win or lose. How has the team handled such a tough loss?
Pretty good. I mean, again, Sunday was, a tough day, but that's what it's there for, and that's the key is to look at the film and see what we could have done better from coaching and playing, and then then learn from that, and then then move on. And our kids have had that right attitude, and we talked about when these are heartbreaking, gut wrenching games when you come out on the wrong end, but they tell you that you're doing a lot of good things right. You just need to clean up the the other things. So we kind of show them that this is what we're doing well, all right, and this is outstanding, and continue to do it. And then if we we had done this a little better, or this the right way, or this didn't happen, this is what could have been the outcome. And then so it gives you a specific things that you need to to work on and attack to improve as you move forward. So that's what we did on Sunday. Our kids have a good upbeat attitude, and had a good Tuesday night practice.
We had an undefeated team on the ropes and unfortunately didn't finish with the victory, so there were obviously a lot of positives in the game. What were some of the things that you saw that were very positive?
One, I mean, we got really good pressure on the quarterback. I mean, had numerous sacks, did a great job defending the run from that deal. Offensively ran the ball well. I mean, we had a 100-yard rusher, hit some big pass plays, which we always emphasize when the opportunity is to take to get a quick score, or to make a big play, to be able to do that, because it's hard to go over land from that standpoint. So it was they were things that were good to see. And then we kind of answered. We gave them the fumble and they ran back for a touchdown. The offense got a drive and went back down and answered the bell. So we did answer some things when we had some adversity. Need to finish and work a little bit more on those things towards the end. But improved our pass rush. Run defense has been good all year, and it was outstanding on Saturday. The big plays we made, from an offensive standpoint, and then to be able to run the ball, as well as we did, were the positives from that game.
Well, defensively, your team also created 5 turnovers as well.
Yeah, we got, part of the sacks forced him to throw the ball from there. Good coverage. When we tipped it, Eli tips it, and Jake was able to come, the pick from there. And then, being where he's supposed to be, Trevor's in center field and is able to pick that one from that deal. And then our D-line, making a quarterback throw before they want to, or not in the right, position, enables to get some turnovers. And again, the emphasis defensively, was to increase our sacks and pressure on the quarterback, and conversely would help us with turnovers and takeaways. So, that was huge. And then, work to try to take more advantage of those turnovers in the future as well.
Well, Coach, this week Kings travels a short distance to face local rival Misericordia University on Saturday at 1 p.m. on the Cougars' homecoming day. They are 1-4 so far this season, but posted an impressive 43-14 win over another local rival in Wilkes University 2 weeks ago. But they fell 65-7 last week to defending MAC champion Stevenson. But despite that lopsided loss last week, Misericordia has been very competitive this year.
Absolutely. I mean, they're a much improved football team, a very solid football team in all 3 phases from there. I mean, their quarterback has shades of Puckett, who was mind-boggling for defenses to deal with, because the kid can run very well. He's very athletic. He makes good decisions. He throws the ball well. So he kind of gets them all going. And when he's on a roll, everybody else is. Their 2 running backs that they use are very talented and do good things. One runs hard, other can make some plays. They have good talented receivers. Their offensive line is big. Their center is very good. He moves his feet on contact really, really well. And then defensively, they're getting after people, up front with their D lines. There's some veteran guys there. Their linebackers are veteran, a little more experienced than they were last year when they played us in the secondary. Do with the pass coverage. So, they play hard. They've good. Their team speeds is improved. We see them running to the ball, better and faster. And they're making more plays.
Well, Misericordia is located roughly 18 miles from Kings, so there's a natural geographic rivalry. The Cougars are trying to build their program up and already have a win over our neighboring school, Wilkes University. There has to be a lot of extra motivation for them this week with it being homecoming, while also having an opportunity to be both local Wilkes-Barre City rivals in the same season for the first time. So how do you address the rivalry aspect with your players?
I mean, it is a rivalry game. We don't try to make it any, bigger from that standpoint. But again, when it's a rivalry game, you usually have the attention and focus of your kids already, and we do. And then you just continue to prepare and go there and put the best effort out on the field from that standpoint. So they already know it's a rivalry. We touch on that, but we don't try to make it bigger than it is on our schedule from that standpoint, because it already is a big game when you play a local team from that deal. So the one thing you can rely on, and your kids are going to be focused and ready to play at 1 o'clock when you do play a rival from there. And it's just about making sure that we can match the execution with the effort. When you play your rival, your effort's going to be A plus, and then hopefully the execution can be A plus as well.
With it being homecoming at Misericordia, is being selected the team's homecoming opponent something that motivates our players heading into the game?
I don't know. I mean, our homecoming, we have kind of certain dates, so whoever the conference assigns to play from there. So it's not like you can, handpick like in Division I from that standpoint. So I don't think it does from there. It's just because it's enough that it is a rival. It's another local school, so it is a rivalry game. There's a lot of similarities. It's been rivalries in other sports. Before they added football, I think that's enough of attention that you want to go and play and beat your rival. The fact that it's homecoming, that is what it is. Maybe go out there and play, and it'll add to the atmosphere and make it more of electric and more of an excitement of the game and ratchet the level of play for our kids.
Well, the Misericordia offense has been solid this year, ranking third in the MAC with a 416 yards per game average. They also have better balance than in the past years, ranking second in rushing with 172 yards per game, but are also fourth in passing at 243 yards. Sophomore quarterback Brady Williams has proven to be a run-pass threat, similar to their former quarterback Jeff Puckett, who graduated 2 years ago. How do you compare Williams to Puckett?
That's to say, I mean, he's scarily, eerily, similar when you put the tape on. You see shades of what they did with Puckett from there. But the one thing I think what the new guy does is he throws the ball. Maybe he's a little bit better of a passer and has a better feel for the passing game, his stronger arm, from there, and is accurate. And the thing it is, the ball comes out of his hands, really quick. So some of the quick game stuff, the screens, he executes that, really well. He makes, fairly good decisions. And the thing is, because he's so mobile and so athletic, if you don't finish or contain him in the pocket, now he's running around, and then he can run around to run, and then he runs around and also buys time because he's got, talented athletic receiver. So he's a combination. He's not the pocket breaks down, I'm going to take off running kind of guy. He'll take he'll run if he needs to, but then he'll see, hey, I see somebody coming open, let me buy some time and deliver the ball down the field. So he's definitely a very dangerous threat, and he's done a great job with his feet and with his arm, and then that's why their offense is as being as balanced and prolific as it's been this year.
Coach, while Williams has accounted for the bulk of the Misericordia offense, they have two solid running backs as well, who have combined for nearly 400 yards in junior Clayton Vec and senior Mark Rainey. Talk about those two. Yeah,
I mean, the Vec kid is a big kid, runs hard, finishes, runs forward. The other guy's got really good speed and shiftiness, and can have some big play, capability. And then they use both of them, really well. And then they play hard, they run hard. Utilize their speed and power to kind of offset each other and create balance. So that if you just try to focus on 10, those two guys are talented, athletic, and good enough that they're going to make plays and hurt you as well. So we have to play good, sound assignment football.
Well, with Williams behind center, the Misericordia passing game has made some strides compared to past season, and the success has to do a lot with sophomore wide receiver Isaiah Williams, who has 32 catches for 512 yards and 2 touchdowns, while sophomore James Jackson and senior Kelly Clayton have posted 21 and 19 receptions respectively.
Yeah, they do a good job, and they got speed so they can go deep and get behind people, but then they run good routes and run the intermediate, and mid-range stuff. And then again, that's the, I think to help, the upgrade what they have at the quarterback is that they have that guy who can, deliver the ball. He can throw the deep ball, and then they can take the mid-range stuff. And then their athletic enough to play in close quarters in space. So they do a great job with, with their wide receiver, type screens, and their line, moves well and runs well to get out there to create the blocks and create the screens and things. And the receivers are athletic and shifty enough to utilize those blocks to make a short pass, into a long gain. And then they also can get behind people from there. So they have, very, again, talented skill guys, and then they have a quarterback who's able to get the ball, to those skill guys and make plays.
Well, the Misericordia defense has allowed some yards this year, but played very well against Wilkes, but then had a tough time against Stevenson the last week. So what do you see as the strengths of that defense?
Like I said, I mean, they run to the football. They tackle them better. Their team speed on defense is good. From there, so they got more guys, in there. They're gap sound, but they try to be, physical up front. Their linebackers, Reed, I think number 5. He's a physical, player from there. Santarelli's been, a 4-year starter. I mean, he's very physical and gets off the ball. From that deal, they get their safeties involved, in the run game. They're gang tackling, from there and playing good, pretty good coverage.
Well, Coach, we're at the halfway point of the season, so we're going to do something a little bit different this week. Let's take a look at the week's games and the MAC coming up and get your thoughts about each contest.
Okay.
The first is the biggest game of the week from a league standpoint, and that will be the meeting between the only 2 undefeated teams in the MAC, in Delaware Valley and Albright, and again, that will be played at Albright. This game may very well be for the conference championship, even though it's only being played in week 6.
Yeah, I've heard things about Del Valle. We know that a lot of the guys are back. They're immensely talented. We haven't, as the film comes, who we're playing, seen them a lot, on film from that standpoint. Obviously played Albright, saw a lot with Albright. They're very talented. Albright has the size and strength and athleticism to match up, with the athleticism that Del Valle has and the size. Should be a great game. Maybe give the tip to Del Valle since, actually it's at Albright, correct? Or is it at Del Valle? It's at Albright. So again, to go on the road, it's a tough one from there. But I know, Del Valle probably have a chip on his shoulder because I think they lost in the last seconds to Albright last year. That'll probably be a game that'll come down to the fourth quarter, and it'll probably come down to a turnover or a mistake. Something from there. The one thing Albright has is, they've, had to come back against Salisbury. They came back against us. They came back against Lyco. They kicked the field goal against Widener. So they've been kind of tested and pushed. So it should be a good game. And if it comes down to that maybe give the tip to Albright that they're home, and they've been pushed to the 11th hour and found a way to get a win.
The next game is our city rival, Wilkes University, playing host to Widener University.
Yeah, I know Widener. Seeing on film, their defense is outstanding. They fly around. Very athletic. They blitz everyone and anyone from there. But then we've seen Wilkes a little bit on film, and then they lost their their quarterback. But then the guy coming in every week, you see him getting better and better. If they can have balance and eliminate the turnovers that the young quarterback has had, they'll be that'll be again a competitive football game.
And with Lebanon Valley and Stevenson enjoying bye weeks this week, our last MAC game is FDU Florham traveling to Lycoming.
Yeah, see there. I mean, FDU again, one we haven't seen on film yet, but everything you're looking there, the passing attack. The Presley kids back. They got some other really good receivers. Their quarterback's a good quarterback that can throw the ball, runs their offense well. Lyco's they're getting improved once again. They found their quarterback, and he's getting confidence and making plays with his feet. As he had another long run, I think last week. Plus good throws, and their defense is solid. The one difference I think watching the film last year, like FDU got the win because they had some balance running and throwing. So if FDU can maybe have a running game, that'll help, and I think they'll need that. As they have to travel to Williamsport, which is always a tough place to go and play. But if they can get some balance with their offense, again, that'll be a good solid football game.
Well, Coach, that's all the time we have this week. Thank you for joining us again, and good luck to you and the Monarchs on Saturday when you travel to face Misericordia University at 1 p.m.
Thanks for having me.